Well, I want to talk more about what is happening in that steel plant in Mariupol. Joining me now is a former Ukrainian defense minister, Andriy Zagorondnyuk. He serves now as an advisor to the Ukrainian government. Good to have you on the program.
Hello. Hi. Thank you.
Just before we get to what's happening in that steel plant, I want to get your assessment of where this war is headed right now. NATO's chief says Ukraine can win this war. UK's defense secretary says it's possible Ukraine could break the Russian army. But when you listen to the US, they're talking about a protracted war, that this could go on for some time. What's your assessment?
There are two scenarios. Scenario number one, we win it quickly. Scenario number two, it goes for months, long months, and perhaps over the year and so on, and which is called protracted war. The difference between these two scenarios is that how much equipment, how many of the pieces of equipment and ammunition we're going to receive from the partners in the near future, because it's about the critical mass right now. So if we receive a critical number of equipment, then we can get to the tipping point, and actually turn it into the major counteroffensive. We clearly see that Russians are on the brink of their capabilities. They cannot mobilize more people. Those who they mobilize, they have a very serious lack of training and lack of collective training, which is you cannot compress it in time. You just need to do it like in a time it's needed. So for the next few months, at least, Russia will not be able to escalate significantly. For the next year, there will be, but not like they will not change their army. It is how it is right now, and we see that it's vulnerable, and we see that we can win. So it's all about us having enough equipment in the right point of time.
And what is that critical number that you speak of? Because I read that you said if you get it by June, you could push out Russian forces by October. What
We
more
can
do
be
you need?
pushing them. Yeah, we can be pushing them out of by October through the on the territories which we have, because this is like several months which we need to push them out of the key territories which they have in the east and the south. Of course, the ultimate victory would involve also the Donbass and Crimea, but that's more complex story because we were talking specifically about these territories from 24th of February. Yeah, these are all passed to the equipment is lists, and the numbers are all with allied governments, and we're talking about tens of units of one type, like hundreds of units of the other type. So we're talking about howitzers, we're talking about the multiple launch rocket systems, we're talking about air defense, we're talking about the armored vehicles and coastal artillery. That sort of standard pack which been discussed for, I don't know, at least 2 months already.
I wanted to turn to the steel plant in Mariupol, which was the last place of resistance there. We're hearing now from the Russian military that there are some 1,700 Ukrainians that have surrendered from that plant. They say some are in hospital, the rest in a detention center. What do you make of those numbers coming from Russia? Can you confirm those figures? And what do you know of any plans to negotiate their release?
The only side which can confirm those numbers is Ukrainian Ministry of Defense or Ukrainian government as a whole. I would be extremely careful about the speculating with the numbers before we have a clear confirmation, because Russians obviously all the time use various, their own versions and their own numbers and their own, in order to sort of use that as a means of strategic communication. So everything which they say, we need to be very careful about. But generally speaking, we are talking about the about obviously hundreds. I mean, and there's a substantial numbers been there. Ukraine is going to do everything possible in order to arrange their release as quick as possible. This is what we're hearing from Ukrainian government statements, and this is what they intended to do.
And we understand that some top Ukrainian commanders are still inside that steel plant. One commander writing online that we will continue this fight. Can you confirm that there are commanders still in that steel plant? And if so, how many remain inside?
No, I'm sorry, but this is exactly the same thing. So we need to see from the government. Government warns people and asks them not to speculate and not to do, unsounded and unjustified, speculations about the situation on the plant. It's extremely sensitive what's happening there, and it's extremely sensitive to be very calm and, not to not to not to provide any unsubstantiated statements, because then they go into the information space and then confuse everybody.
For those in Russian hands, do you believe that Russia will uphold its word to treat the soldiers in accordance with international law?
Trouble is that they have a record of not doing that. And yes, there was we believe that there were some discussions with Russians about the sort of controlled passage of the soldiers to Russians in order to exchange them later. But the trouble is that they constantly use the name of Azov Battalion as something terrifying or whatever in their propaganda machine, and of course the risks for those are higher than usual for the rest of the regular forces. So we hope that this will be in a matter that will be communicated, but we'll see when it happens.
All right, well, we hope to get you back on the program. Good to spend some time
Thank
with
you.
you today. Andriy Zagorondnyuk, thanks so much.